Tomorrow morning, every single person on Earth wakes up to find $1 million sitting in their bank account. No catch, no fine print. Every account, every currency, instantly multiplied into millionaire territory. For about 6 hours, it would feel like paradise. Then it would start to fall apart. Here's the part almost nobody intuitively understands. Money is not wealth. Money is a claim on wealth, a ticket that lets you trade for things other people have made. And the instant you hand everyone the same number of tickets, the tickets themselves stop meaning anything. Think about it like this. Imagine a small island with exactly 100 loaves of bread and $100 in circulation. Each loaf costs $1. Simple, stable. Now imagine every person on that island suddenly has 10 times more money. There are still only 100 loaves of bread. Nothing changed about how much bread exists, but now there's far more money chasing the same fixed amount of bread. What happens next isn't complicated, it's almost mechanical. Sellers raise prices. Why would a baker sell bread for $1 when everyone now has 10 times more cash and is desperate to buy? The price climbs until it finds a new equilibrium. And that equilibrium erases almost all of the apparent gain. Economists have a name for this. It's called inflation, and in extreme, sudden cases, hyperinflation. History has already run this experiment, just slower and smaller. In Weimar Germany in 1923, the government printed money to pay its debts. Prices didn't just rise, they exploded. At the peak of the crisis, prices were doubling every few days. People famously needed wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. By November 1923, a single US dollar was worth over 4 trillion German marks. The lesson is brutal and simple. Printing more money doesn't create more stuff. It just makes the existing stuff cost more of that money. Now scale that island experiment up to the entire planet, with every person suddenly holding $1 million instead of 10 times more. The price of everything physical, food, gasoline, real estate, lumber, steel, would start climbing within hours, not months. Why? Because the actual physical supply of food, fuel, and materials on Earth did not change at all. Only the number of dollars chasing them did. Grocery store shelves would empty within a day, not from supply chain failure, but from a literal stampede. Why would anyone wait? Everyone has $1 million now. Everyone wants groceries today. Landlords and homeowners would realize something within hours. Real estate is finite. There are only so many homes, so many apartments, so many livable square feet of land. With every buyer suddenly holding 7 figures, home prices would skyrocket overnight, locking out exactly the people the windfall was supposed to help. Meanwhile, banks face an immediate crisis of their own. Banking relies on a system called fractional reserve lending, meaning banks only keep a small percentage of deposits in actual cash. If every single account holder simultaneously has access to vastly more money, and any meaningful fraction tries to withdraw or spend it at once, banks physically cannot produce that much currency fast enough. This is called a bank run, and it has historically been one of the fastest ways to collapse an entire financial system. There's an even deeper problem hiding underneath all of this. Wealth, in any real economic sense, isn't money. It's stuff and services, food production, housing construction, healthcare delivery, manufactured goods, transportation. All of that requires labor, time, and physical resources to produce. Giving everyone $1 million doesn't create a single new tractor, a single new hospital bed, or a single new gallon of fuel. It just rearranges who's holding the tickets that claim those things. And since the tickets multiplied while the things didn't, each ticket is now worth dramatically less. This is the part economists call the real wealth versus nominal wealth distinction, and it's one of the most consistently misunderstood ideas in popular thinking about money. So who actually loses the most in this scenario? Strangely, it's not the wealthy. People with significant existing assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, commodities, would likely see those assets simply reprice upward along with everything else, preserving much of their relative position. The people hurt worst would be those on fixed incomes, retirees, people receiving disability payments. Anyone whose income doesn't automatically scale with runaway inflation would watch their $1 million evaporate in purchasing power within weeks, while still being stuck with the exact same fixed monthly payment they had before. The poorest people on Earth, ironically, might end up relatively worse off than before the money appeared. now holding a million inflated dollars that buys less real food than the modest amount of stable currency they had the day before. Some economists have run smaller-scale versions of this experiment intentionally, through something called universal basic income trials, in cities and countries from Finland to Kenya. The results are illuminating precisely because the scale was contained. Small, controlled cash injections into limited populations show real benefits: reduced poverty, improved mental health, modest local economic stimulus. Specifically because the surrounding economy was large enough to absorb the new money without prices collapsing into spiraling inflation. The entire effect depends on scale. A small injection into a large system gets absorbed. A massive injection into the same system, all at once, breaks the system's ability to absorb anything. This is the central paradox of the millionaire thought experiment. Money was never the actual prize. Money is a coordination tool, a shared agreement that lets 8 billion strangers trade complex goods and services without needing to barter chickens for haircuts. The instant you break the scarcity that makes the coordination tool meaningful, you don't create 8 billion millionaires. You destroy the tool. Within months, most economists agree the world would essentially need to reset its currency entirely. A process some countries have actually undergone, called redenomination, where old inflated currency is scrapped and a new, smaller numbered currency takes its place. So if everyone became a millionaire tomorrow morning, by next month you wouldn't be living in a world of millionaires. You'd be living in a world where the word millionaire had quietly lost all meaning, and everyone would be working exactly as hard as before just to buy the exact same loaf of bread.